All right, I'd like to call this Town of Cedar Lake Redevelopment Commission meeting to order at 6:36. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, please? Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Rakubo?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Ms. Dixon?
Here.
Ms. Rivera? Here. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Teal?
Here.
Ms. Haskell? Absent?
She might be a little bit.
Mr. Vassar?
Here.
Ms. Sandberg? Present. Mr. Bungie?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Cheryl Haddock is absent. I am Kirsten Smith. I am here in her place.
All right, are we zooming at all, or we are on?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't see it up on there, so I was just making sure.
My apologies.
All right, we just want to make sure. All right, thank you. All right, to start off with, presentation for Explore Everyday Community Recognition. Melody Hill Resort and Marina is the recipient. I got a little letter that I'm going to read real quick. This is regarding Melody Hill Resort and Marina. Dear Maria, Caroline, and Natalie, on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission of Cedar Lake, I would like to express our thanks to Melody Hill Resort and Marina for its service to Cedar Lake. Melody Hill Resort and Marina is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year in 2024. 4 small cottages were added to the property, making the property an established resort. In 1954, Emily Sarek and Frank Samara purchased the resort. With their 5 children, they leased the tavern, rented the 4 smaller cottages, 7 houses, opened a candy counter, rented boats, and sold fishing sundries to the fishermen that came to our pier. Currently, Caroline, Marie, and Natalie continue to run the resort and have added boat slips to the marina. Our town motto is Explore Every Day. This has multiple meanings, but one of which I am convinced is to explore the futures of the town and linger a while with families, friends, and business associates. To that end, we remit a resolution of thanks to you and your team for all your hard work and dedication to Cedar Lake. Thank you for your contributions to Cedar Lake. Sincerely, Richard C. Teal, Jr., Redevelopment Commission President. Up and say a little bit, any plans for the future or anything like that, and if you like to, or the spotlight's on you now.
There's not many things that have been around for 100 years.
Yeah, there's not.
No, the resort itself is 100 years. The cottages were added in 1924, so that's which really made it a resort. So, and then we'd like to add a couple tiny houses to just maybe like our Airbnb. That's about all. We're doing well. We're happy.
All right. Yep. We're going to have you get back up there real quick. Got the certificate for you, get a photo. We're all going to go down there with them. Oh, you got her? This is a copy of the letter.
I'm not important.
This is my Aunt Wanda. This is my
Hi, nice to meet you.
sister. And my cousin Roger, her son. It was great growing up in the 60s. I want to be like you, Caroline.
Everybody in, got to scoot in.
Yeah, everybody can have a picture.
We're surrounding you, Caroline.
Caroline, I know you like to take pictures.
1, 2, 3, explore.
I don't know which camera to look at.
From back here, you can see the eyes, you're good.
Yeah,
Yep,
can't.
you're good.
Billy.
All right, thank you.
I'm gonna go to Jen's place.
Where are you? Hey, Jeff.
Good.
Congratulations, very nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
I really have
How are you? Good.
All right, before moving on to the consent agenda, I just wanted to touch base real quick. We were gonna be doing these quarterly. In this last one, we kinda got pushed back without, the fact that the election was last time, so just so we don't have that issue again. The next one quarterly would technically be October 1st, so if we could have somebody in mind, which I know there's been discussion in the past.
Kelly's Colonel.
Kelly's Colonels, so just between now, September 3rd would be the day that we're gonna say, yes, this is when we're voting on it, so I don't think we have anything going on that day. But just so we have it in the forefront that, if that is a day that we're not gonna meet, we need to do it the month prior. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Item number 1, approval of the June 4th, 2024 meeting minutes. And number 2, claims Fund 804 in the amount of $433.95. Just for the audience, as far as the breakdown, item 1 on that is the TIF attorney in the amount of $357.50. And also for VS Engineering in the amount of $76.45. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion by Ms. Rivera and a second by Chuck Becker to approve. Roll call.
Question,
Whoops, sorry.
VH, that's for the sidewalk that we haven't decided to do yet, correct?
Yes, engineering, and yes, that is for the East Side Sidewalk project.
All right, thank you, Bob. Sorry, I didn't ask for discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Akuputo?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. All right, moving on to school board liaison comments. Mr. Vassar?
Hi, as we're just about ready to finish up with MacArthur, a little bit of sidewalk to do, and then we get right to the punch list, so we'll be ready by the time school starts.
It'll be all complete?
That's the plan.
Good news. All right, thank you. All right, update discussion, item 1, annual spending plan.
Hi.
Jen?
Commission members, there's a memo in your packet for you all, something I wanted to bring to your radar for those of you that are unaware. In 2023, House Enrolled Act number 1454 was passed. So beginning with December 1st, 2024, and not later than December 1st of each year thereafter, redevelopment commissions must prepare an annual spending plan for the following calendar year. The redevelopment commission can only use the money in the TIF allocation fund and any other RDC maintained funds according to its annual spending plan, and the redevelopment commission must submit the plan to the unit executive and the fiscal body. So redevelopment commission will have to adopt their spending plan, and then they will have to ensure that they give it to the town council president and board. Which I know is kind of, it's all silly, but that's the way we do things here, so we gotta follow. So we have two funds. So we have Fund 804, which is your TIF monies, and then we also have Fund 404, which we call RDC General. There really hasn't been too much activity in that fund over the past few years. Everything's been really TIF related, but we do have that fund for RDC. Branding is in there, which is the quarterly newsletter, because that's the way it was set up many years ago. So the quarterly newsletter comes out of there, and a little bit of salaries and wages. But off the top of my head, I can't recall anything else.
Is that 804?
No, that's 404.
404, that, okay, thank you.
That's the Redevelopment Commission
Okay,
General Fund
thank
is
you.
what we call that one.
We also take money out of there to match community crossing grants too periodically.
Periodically for TIF, not the RDC general. So
Oh,
Fund
okay.
804, if there's...
So that doesn't come out of those two funds?
804 if there's a matching one, but honestly, off the top of my head, I can't recall a CCMG project related to TIF. I'd have to look back. You've had other road projects, but not CCMG related ones.
Right.
So we're kind of waiting for more guidance from the state regarding this, because we anticipate there should be more coming out. At least that's what the state examiner said last week, but that remains to be seen whether or not we'll actually get some guidance for the state. So my plan is just to continue with the budget as we always do for each year, and these 404 has always been a budgeted fund, but 804, I'd like to go ahead and just budget it like we do every other fund. That way we have that in place for our spending plan, absent any other guidance from the state. That way we're in compliance by December 1st, because we'll definitely have our budget approved far before December 1st because of the state deadlines. So at your next meeting in August, I'll kind of give you a report with historical expenditures out of both funds. That way you can kind of see what we've spent those monies on in the past. That way you get an idea if there's anything you want to change up.
And we gotta make sure that if there's anything we need in there and we don't put it in there, then we can't spend it, right?
Absolutely correct. It must be in the spending plan. So you can't, say, 6 months into 2025, decide that you want to do something. If it's not allocated within that spending plan, you're not doing it till 26.
All right, do we have any more discussion on the spending plan? Any more comments? All right, moving on to written communications, do we have anything?
I have not received anything for the commission.
All right. I have nothing. Thank you. Moving on to public comment for redevelopment commission. Public comment twice for redevelopment. And public comment for a third time. Nobody online?
And nobody online.
All right, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 6:48 PM.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Town of Cedar Lake Town Council public meeting for July 2nd, 2024. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by opening prayer?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall we pray? Gracious God and Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you have made. We thank you for the beauty of it. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for freedom and the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I pray a blessing over this town council. We pray that you would watch over them and protect their families as they make tough decisions, as they engage with the community, and as they seek to make Cedar Lake a beautiful place to live, work, and play. We ask that you would bless this time and that you would be glorified through it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And who do we have the presence of being here with us today?
Yeah, I didn't know how that worked, so my name is Dave Weemhoff. I'm pastor at Faith Church.
Okay.
Right over on 133rd here on the east side. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted that for the record.
Yep, very good.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
I was going to ask about dredging the lake first, but I didn't know. I was just kidding.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This meeting is called to order at 7:03 p.m. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Here.
Julie Rivera? Here. Chuck Becker?
Here.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Here.
Richard Seal?
Here.
Greg Parker?
Here.
Nick Recupero?
Here.
I am present. Jeff Bungie?
Present.
David Austin?
Present. Thank you. We're going to start off with a presentation. Mr. James Olthoff, would you mind stepping up, please, to the podium? He, gentleman that served 5 years on our Police Commission and Board of Safety, recently retired. Do you want to give you a recognition, a little certificate? You got any words for us, Jim?
Sure. First of all, I'd just like to say that it was an honor for me to serve this town in the capacity that I did. I come from emergency services as a career, and to come back here and do some work here, an honor to work with the people I work with. Actually a privilege to work with the safety boards that I work with. I mean, just a great bunch of people, dedicated people. The job is really no fun. Like, when I first got on, Charlie there said, this is really a fun job. And he was right for a while. But it's an important job. And I enjoy it, but there comes a time when, your time's up and you just have to step down. So I appreciate the trust and the faith that you've all had in me. And working with guys like Charlie is great. So I appreciate it.
And we thank you for your time. All boards and commissions. I got my start on a board, and it really is. People say all this stuff's a thankless job, but you guys dedicate a lot of time in service to the community. So for you, especially tonight, Jim, we thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We do, my wife and I do have to leave right away. Yeah. Her mom is in hospice and we're waiting for a phone call, so.
Absolutely.
We'll be going pretty quick.
I'm going to move this.
Four by eight, like you told me. 4 by 8. You told me 4 by 8. That was 5 by 8. That's what you get. Oops, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hurry up, one more. Bob, I'm happy you're moving that fast. Marvelous.
Thank you, Jim.
Which way should I go?
Hi again.
Okay, we will move on to public comment on agenda items. Public comment on agenda items only for the town council. Last call for public comment on agenda items. Ms. Amber, do you have anybody?
No attendees online.
Okay. Public comment on agenda items are now closed. Consent agenda. Minutes from June 4th, 2024. 2 claims, all town funds, $1,349,963.66. Wastewater operating, $61,749.75. 2010 water bond, $1,931.25. Water utility, $29,392.49. Stormwater, $19,931.03. And payroll, June 20th, 2024, and July 1st, 2024, the amount of $315,127.77. Number 3, tag day requests, Hanover Central Middle School cheerleading for September 21st, 2024, with a rain date of September 28th, 2024. Any questions on the consent agenda?
I do have one question. On the tag day request, it stated that the parents were going to be collecting with the girls. I hope they understand the girls cannot be in the street. They have to be on the side. 'Cause they're under 18 because they're middle school. So if we can make sure they understand that the girls cannot be out in the street.
Okay.
That's part of the ordinance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see the application that's in the packet also
Yeah.
has an erroneous date for their rain date that we'll have to fix. And they wanted the 28th. That was what, that's what's in the agenda.
All right.
Of those stipulations, changes.
All right, thank you all. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Dixon, seconded by Ms. Rivera to accept this consent agenda. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 1490. This will be a second reading. The first reading was approved, I believe, at the last meeting. So, Mr. Parker, would you mind giving us 1490 by title only?
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1490. An ordinance amending town ordinance number 246, being an ordinance for the enactment of procedures on unsafe buildings to be known as the Unsafe Buildings Ordinance of the Town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, pertaining to the establishment of policies and procedures for identifying and addressing and abating unsafe buildings located within the Town of Cedar Lake, Indiana, and repealing all ordinances and town code provisions and parts thereof in conflict herewith and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion on this item? Everything's been fine-tuned and...
The modernization of unsafe building law in Cedar Lake
Okay.
is established by this ordinance.
Very good. Okay. That being said, do we have a motion to adopt 1490?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Becker, seconded by Ms. Rivera to adopt ordinance number 1490. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Ordinance number 1490 is hereby adopted. Number 2, resolution number 1355, temporary loan 2017 RDA A, B, and C bonds. Parker, would you mind reading this one too?
I don't mind. Let me get there.
Okay. Ordinance, or I'm sorry, this is resolution number 1355.
How far down is it?
Oh, it's pretty far down.
There we go. Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, resolution number 1355. A resolution authorizing a temporary loan for the 2017 RDA A, B, and C bonds of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Sandberg, do you have some information for us
I
on this?
do. Council members, this is similar to a resolution that you all passed at your very first meeting in January. It's with the timing of the bond payments and the collections. So when we received our spring tax settlement late last week, we repaid the temporary loan that you all approved in January, and with the repayment of that temporary loan, the remaining monies in the fund are not enough to cover the debt service payment that is due July 15th. So we need a temporary loan of $204,651.80 from Fund 633, the Wastewater Township Treatment Plant Special Fund, to Fund 412, the 2017 RDA A, B, and C Bond Fund, and upon receipt of the fall settlement, we will turn around and pay that back.
Is this something that's going to be reoccurring every...
Until this bond is done in the next few years, yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's just the timing of the bond payments and the settlement and how that all shook out.
Okay. Any discussion on the item? Thank you for the clarification, Jennifer. That being said, do we have a motion to approve resolution number?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 1355, temporary loan 2017 RDA A, B, and C bonds in the amount of $204,651.80.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Teal, to approve resolution number 1355, temporary loan 2017 RDA A, B, and C bonds in the amount of $204,651.80. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Jen.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Gill?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. New business, award a contract for the fire department emergency vehicle preemption bid project. This item was deferred on June 4th and June 18th, 2024. Do we have, Jeff, you and I have talked about this. Do we have any new information on this?
Well, we do. We've got a representative from the Veritas Group is joining us here by Zoom to kind of give the VOT and the builder's point of view as far as where this ought to be. It was originally, and Lance, are you there? Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but on further exploration, this was an item that had initially been looked at as far as rolling into the funding of the original project. And then when the project or the funding for the Constitution Avenue Road improvements were contemplated, they thought this would be something we would put in that funding source. So it was pulled out of the original contract and portion of the agreement with the Board of the Safety Buildings. So we have gone back and tried to figure out if we were going to fund this separately or on our own. It seems like that was the consensus or the opinion of the previous administration, that we would find the money and do it ourselves. But in conversations with Lance and some of the Veritas Group folks, along with Cliff, we think we can do it better or more efficiently by not accepting the Hawk bid that was put out to bid this part of your packet in previous months, back in May.
And how would that happen? How would it be better? What are they going to do?
Well, and that's why we have Lance on the horn to explain that.
Good evening.
We have owner's contingents. We have some projects that have come in under budget, so we think we have a cushion to pay for it out of safety building money.
Okay. Jeff, I appreciate that. You mind if I get Lance on here?
I do not, absolutely.
Okay. All right, thanks. Good evening, Lance.
Hey, good evening. I hope you guys can all hear me. Can you please confirm?
Yes, sir. We can hear you. Yep.
Good evening. Yeah, so I did have a conversation here recently with Jeff, and he is recounting our conversation very well. There is some development in another possible approach that crept up since we spoke, and so I'll get into that. But I do want to kind of go back and review, I think, kind of what we laid out a couple weeks ago at the council meeting, just like having a really clear understanding of the financing and the way the DOT would be. So there is a guaranteed maximum price within the DOT project, $6,575,000, and within that guaranteed maximum price, there is a basket of funds, which is an owner allowance. So it's an owner contingency that is used for whatever purposes may arise during construction. We know that we have some water main delay costs, and a couple weeks ago, I said that we were working through that. I think we finally needled in on a number there, and so pretty confident now that there is funds to roll this into the DOT. Now, the one thing that Jeff and I did discuss is that one possible approach, it's the best approach, would be to approve Hawk's number, and if the town approves it, from our perspective, then we could coordinate with GM Development, with the developer on the DOT, coordinate with the town and GM Development, and funding would come through the DOT. And that may be a little confusing. I'll give you all a moment to consider that questions.
Mr. Austin, are there, we talked about this obviously last meeting. I think we want to have that covered by the DOT rather than have it come out of another fund. But there's concerns about contingency maybe drying up as some of these projects come to completion. Maybe some of them might come in a little bit higher than we thought, so that was a little bit of a concern. But what's your take on this from a legal perspective?
Well, it doesn't sound like it was initially planned for the DOT, and now it's being dragged into a financing source. I'm not certain that it can be easily considered, at least tonight, by the council, based upon the totality of financing circumstances. I think you introduced the topic in that fashion very well. And until you're certain, or fairly certain, and it's verifiable, and your clerk and your financial people all agree, it might be early to award a bid and pay for it out of the DOT.
Any board discussion?
I'm sorry, Nick, how close are we to a good financial report? Status of funds in hand and remaining to be used, if you will, and how much work do we have left dollar-wise on our project?
That I'm not sure. I don't know if, Jen, you can speak on that. I'm aware of the owner contingency being 160 or 150. But
For me to speak on that, I'd go back to the last pay request, and I'd be looking through those documents. It's not like I'm working the budget. You know, I haven't really been part of.
Can he answer that?
Lance, can you answer that question that Attorney Austin had regarding the finances and where we're at?
Yeah, I was struggling to hear him clearly. Could you reiterate his question?
Basically, like kind of a review on where we're at with what's outstanding left to be completed and where we're at as far as finances go on that, in that regard. I mean, we talked about the contingency last meeting, which we had a dollar amount given to us by you guys, but, you know, what's left to be completed and kind of an idea of what that's going to cost.
Sure. So we currently have a basket of, the owner's contingency is $125,000. It hasn't been touched to date until this point. The numbers that we're dealing in on with regard to the water delay costs are about $66,000 is what we're anticipating. And so that leaves us with a balance of right about the $59,000 to roll the current proposal into the DOT. However, we also have there are some other needs that are in fact project because there were some fees that were based on rather large water meter sizes. Those were reduced. And so there are going to be coming back because they're going to go to, they'll be allocated to that contingency fund as well. So all we're going to end up with probably about $200,000. And go from 105 to a little available. So I'm very confident that with what it costs and the pre-work, we can roll over those. And there are questions specifically is any other outstanding items with a question.
Yeah, that was a question too regarding what was outstanding in the project and what the kind of roundabout cost was on that.
So I think that with regard to the, I'm going to call them unknowns because it's unspent. The contractor portion and the construction portion is all handled, it's covered, and everything's fine. We're also managing what we call FF&E. Those who don't know, that's furniture, fixtures, and equipment. So that would include the loose furniture or office furniture and beds for dorm space and so on. So, but it also includes some of the extraction gear for fire extractor, evidence storage lockers. There are some ammunition storage cabinetry. All of those are examples of that. So we have most of that secured right now. There are some telecom issues, telecom voltage items such as computers. Cliff and I are coordinating on that. Right now, all in all, with the FF&E and the telecoms, we're okay. We are coming in under budget, as long as there's not too many surprises. And if there are, we might be one or whatnot. As far as it stands right now, everything that has been in the project and from the get-go is out.
All right. Thank you, sir.
So your opinion is that we have the available money to take care of this?
My opinion, yes, my recommendation is that we can roll this preemptor into the DOT. And that's part of the beauty of the DOT delivery method, is that we have that flexibility to do that in this situation.
Thank you.
Where's the money for the water being coming from?
Well, that's one of those surprises.
And how much is that gonna be?
Are you talking about for the water main project?
For
That
going
was-
to that building?
To get it from the well to these buildings, that is a separate project. The council already squared that away in the funding sources. Last year, I believe it was November, tap fees and TIF will be paying for that project to get the water line from the source to the building.
Because we still have the tree replacements that
Correct.
they tore out all the trees for the water main that's supposed to come. So we still have to pay for that.
Tip fees and tip.
And then 66,000, did you say
Development fees, I'm sorry, Greg,
66,000
yeah.
just for,
Development.
because we don't have water there, that's how much extra it's gonna cost?
Delayed cost, yes.
Delayed cost, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Which could be another surprise.
So if I can also just add one thing, because Jeff had mentioned it in discussion, there, a couple of times it's been mentioned, talk of Constitution Avenue and redoing Constitution Avenue. That was, as far as I'm aware, and as far as a budgeting standpoint, that was never brought to my attention. So this, if prior administration, it was never discussed with me, so there is not a funding source right now on the books for this if you wanted to handle it outside of the BOT.
And that constitution includes drainage or just the street?
I would have
It
to
was all-
confirm with Mr. Oliphant, but I think it was
Drainage and-
a complete reconstruction.
Yeah, when I talked with Don, it was stormwater and road
Okay.
improvements,
Curbs.
curbs, yeah.
But that was never something that was discussed to be budgeted for 24.
Does that have a price tag up?
Well, I think it was on the radar as a potential funding source for some CDBG money. So that was a targeted area for improvement improvement to the infrastructure for Constitution. But I don't know how far it ever got. I think some numbers were generated, but I don't think we ever found an acceptable funding source.
Are we talking about a road improvement or a water line? I'm confused here.
Road.
Road.
Storm drainage coming down Constitution.
There was multiple projects that were discussed early on when we started the building project. One of them was Constitution being upgraded, getting curb and gutter, upgrading the roadway. Previous administration conversation, not with us, because we were just worried about our buildings. But that was the conversation, that they wanted to do that along with a multitude of other projects.
Well, Constitution, although it isn't great, this is just my opinion sitting here, it's a pretty decent passable road. I know that it needs upgrading and infrastructure. As I travel east of town and I look at what some people are having to travel to their house and their residence and other areas, I don't know why we would spend money on, frankly, I'm disappointed that we spent money on a lot of these things before we got the town in good shape, the residents in good shape. But I would rather spend money on the east side of town and get people what they've been paying taxes for all these years, in some cases over 100 years. That's my 2 cents.
Does everybody understand what this system is? Nobody has any questions on that?
The preemption system? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Cliff had shared some information with us too, so it's pretty detailed.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. So I guess my opinion on it is I think that the BOT ought to pay for it, but I guess, you know, how do we make that happen? How do we guarantee that, Dave?
Well, you can guarantee it because the funds today, as we're being addressed on the topic, are available. It's a matter of your commitment to doing so and not knowing what surprises still may be out there. It's still unknown, and this was the funding source. The BOT bond issues were the source.
So if the building takes an extensive amount of time to be completed, we still have to pay staff to be up there to supervise, et cetera. That would come out of BOT?
It would.
So that's one of those surprises, maybe?
Could be.
Okay, thank you.
Will be, likely.
Why would you have to pay staff to be up there?
It's an idle construction
Idle
site.
construction site.
Construction staff,
I thought they were going to just close it down until it was ready to be.
Still considered an idle construction site. That's what Lance described the last time.
Really? Okay.
That
I thought it was for
contractor is still
remobilization.
responsible for that building, or those buildings. until they're-
Security and everything
They've
else.
been used for 30 days and turned over to us.
It was $7,000 a month, I believe, just for idle construction site. Is that number right, Lance?
That's, it's actually, we negotiated that down to about $5,100 a month. And that includes types where the contractor will visit the site twice a week to get his eyes on it, make sure everything's okay. And it also includes the general requirements, it's insurance and that nature, as well as some fixed rental.
Did you get the total, was it 51?
51.
Yeah, it's 51, Lance, but, well, I guess in light of all these things and the unknowns that we could possibly have, and then $5,100 a month for however long this drags on, maybe it's not wise to be contracting out for this project.
If we don't even have the water yet. I mean, once we start seeing groundbreaking on the water, and if we are gonna do it ourselves, or go through the BOT, then, I mean, I don't think another month's gonna make a difference.
Right. What's the opinion of the board?
I agree.
I think another month would make a difference, I agree.
So we want to, one want to defer this then until the next meeting?
Well, have you talked to Don about how the water situation's going?
Haven't heard anything more since the last update. Mr. Kubiak might have something.
So they met with, they talked to IDEM today, and everything is looking good. They didn't have any problems with the Morse water main extension. He actually asked if it was already in. IDEM asked that question, which was kind of crazy, but we told them they were waiting for.
Good for you.
We're waiting for a permit, right?
Waiting for the NOI, the construction permit, correct, so, it's looking good, he said everything looked good for the Morse line, they wanted some more information on the well house, it's just that, with as much communication that's been there, they're asking for pictures of the well house and the tank and they have everything that we possibly have, but he had a list of things he was asking for the production facility, but, everything was cool. I mean, Don actually asked him if we can go ahead and get release the water main in the last email, so it's.
And all the material is sitting in the yard, right?
Ready to go, so we're just waiting for a for sure yes, and then we'll be.
And what would the timeline be after the yes?
It's
What do you
government, who
think?
knows?
90 days.
Well,
Project
Gatlin
was
has
90
said that 2 to 4 weeks they would be here putting it in, so, and they
Okay.
said that they will, when they get here to start, they will do this part first to, to
Sure.
keep things rolling, so. As soon as we, so we're getting to that point where it's gonna be real close.
Well, that's
Sounds like
promising.
we're making progress.
So, yeah, it was good news for a change.
Well, would someone like to make a motion to defer this item? Hopefully by the
So
next
moved.
meeting, we can get some better information. Mr. Parker,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Becker, to approve this, or I'm sorry, back up, to defer this item
Yes.
to the next meeting. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Dean?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Riccupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Lance.
Mr. President, thank you, Lynn. So exactly what additional information does the council want? So we don't walk out of here and kind of be in a float.
Actually, I mean, my personal opinion is that I'd like to know whether we're gonna get a water line anytime soon,
Yeah, well,
because when
when can we turn the bell on?
without a water line, it seems like we will have to incur a $5,100 a month cost to, oversee or monitor this project, so. that's
And that was just one cost.
Okay, there was
That
other.
doesn't even bring into the completion of the pavement and the sidewalks.
Okay,
That's included in the project though, but they have remobilization costs.
yeah, okay. I guess for me, Dave, it'd be to wait and see what happens in the next 2 weeks if we get something favorable from IDEM.
We should know what to produce
Okay.
and get information for
Is it possible that we get an itemized list of what's left? I mean, we're throwing things out here.
There has to be a punch list at some point.
Yeah, is there a punch list somewhere that we can
They
do?
can't do it until they can turn the water on.
Okay, well, I just thought, he just threw in sidewalks, I thought sidewalks were
There's
included.
the safety net.
Yeah, that was the interview. I talked to the builder, and I think their intentions are to do a punch list either next week or the week after, which is the general walkthrough of issues that they see, paint,
So will
scrape.
the plumbing and those types of things be a contingency after that?
That money's already set aside. The finishing of the project up front, that money's set aside, that's already part of the BOT. The issue is the remobilization of the equipment because they have to come back and put the asphalt in and the curb and gutters in, concrete stuff. And then, this $5,100 a month, which I've never heard that before, so.
And Veritas is in charge of looking out for us, right?
Yep,
And have we got a report from them lately?
last meeting.
So they were-
The last
He was
meeting.
here last meeting.
Yeah, but shouldn't we be getting a written report from them?
Well, you kind of do every time you get a disbursement. You get their cover letter where they've reviewed, they've checked off on everything. So I was going to bring that up with Mary Jo's question. If you go back to the disbursement request, they have it broken down by both the police department and the fire department for everything from design fees to storage to the masonry to the brick pavers to it's all listed out there so you can see what the budget was, what, draw 1, draw 2, draw 3, and so on and so forth was, what total paid to date is, what the total remaining is, what the percentage completion is. So you can go back to that and get an idea. And then if you decide after reviewing that you still have a couple more questions, I'm sure Lance can more than easily answer those.
Well, the only problem that we have with the building is it was built on a site that wasn't ready to have a building.
That's the only problem?
That's the only problem. That's what the holdup is.
I have one more question for Lance. At your presentation the last time, you showed us the numbers on the delay of the water main, and then your proposals on the talking down, and now you just said 5,100 for the idle job site. What, do you have a approximate cost now versus what you showed Jeff and I in that meeting, prior to the council meeting?
Yeah, the bottom line was the $66,000, and that is kind of where we're sitting right now. That number includes the 5,100 that has been mentioned already. And so that $66,000 is kind of the total delay cost for management and demob and remobilization of the site through the end of September. If the work gets completed by the end of September, that's what that is. And then somebody made the comment that if it draws out another month, that we would indeed expect another $5,100 charge for an extra month of idle site.
Thank you.
Is that fee per month, or like if it's only 2 weeks into the new month, is it half, or no, it's 51,000 no matter what? I mean, 5,100?
No, that's a month cost.
Okay, thank you.
It would certainly be prorated if we went 3 days into the month, where they're not gonna bill us for a whole month. In that situation.
Okay.
And going back, I'm sorry, I think it was maybe Mr. Carnahan made a comment about the report. We're happy to furnish a report on a monthly basis when asked. So if that would be beneficial to the council, we can start doing that.
You asked it, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Carnahan's asking for that, Lance.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Bob, just so, we walked the building recently, the building's done, just about. The only issue is it's not ready. Can't put the asphalt in because of the water line. Can't put the concrete in because of the water line. Can't turn the water on because of the water line. Typically, you have that before you build something.
And hopefully, we make progress with item.
Yep. All right. Any other questions for Lance? Okay, thank you for attending, Lance. Have a good night.
Thank you, you as well.
Thank you. Number 2 of new business is approval of Christopher B. Burke, pay request number 6 in the amount of $166,664.40 for Shade Subdivision Improvements, Phase 1.
That's out of the community crossing grant.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions on this pay request? With that, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Teal, seconded by Ms. Rivera to approve this pay request. Any discussion? Roll call, please, sir.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Peel?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupedo?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Reports, town council reports. Mr. Carnahan.
I've got all the flag raising ceremonies for Summerfest lined up, and I've got singers that will sing the Star Spangled Banner, and on Thursday at 12 noon we'll be welcoming the 248th year of being the United States of America.
Very good. Looking forward to celebrating it, Bob. Anything else to report, Bob?
Well, this is something I just learned, and I don't know if you know this, but I came down there in Town Hall and I asked, where's the battery container? I've got some flashlight batteries.
Oh, I should have told you that. They disbanded that operation.
Yeah, because they had a fire in Lowell or something?
Lake County Solid Waste?
Yeah.
Yeah, they disbanded that. And it's funny because at one of the previous meetings, there was another representative for another community in Lake County asked that question because of issues they had in the past with batteries that were arcing. And then they said they didn't have any problems. And then like 2 months later, they quit the program because there was a fire.
Well, the problem is the lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah.
And the reason they don't have it anymore, one of the reasons is because if you take a bunch of household batteries and throw them in a 5-gallon bucket and bring them down here, they'd have to pay somebody to sort all the alkaline batteries versus the rechargeables, the lithium ions and everything like that. And a lot of times there's no way to tell unless you physically read it. And so that's another thing, you know, related with cost, just like why they got rid of the drop-off, because it was costing too much money because of people commingling stuff that didn't belong.
Trash, yeah.
Tires,
People don't like to follow the rules.
No.
We actually have gotten
So,
a nice
so
size.
I asked Rich, is there anywhere you could dispose of the batteries, and he said no.
I am not aware.
That's a shame.
It is.
Any other town council report?
I was hoping to have at the next meeting, if we can have Christopher Burke report to us on the settlement dewatering system. Julie did make a phone call, but I'd like to have that in the minutes of our next meeting of what the status is. So I'd like to make that request that we contact Christopher Burke and have that information available at our next meeting.
Mr. Bungie, are you gonna handle it?
I'm making the road right now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
You been out there yet, Jeff?
I have not.
Well, you need to take another trip out there someday.
Okay. I'd be up for that.
Afraid you guys might
I'll take you down there.
Okay. All right.
It's drying up pretty good.
Is it?
You can walk out there.
Across the, no, you can't.
I did a little bit.
If we do, we might have to have another election.
It's drying up.
Oh, no.
It's good. Yeah,
Then I better stay on the shore.
No, you're gonna tell me first.
I had a road bumper poop though. And again.
Then we really will find bodies in the soil.
I have a couple of topics real quick, Mr. President. With the second reading today of ordinance 1490 with the unsafe, we can now instruct Jennifer to create the unsafe building non-reverting fund. That was part of the main reason for the cleanup with this ordinance. So now all the funds that get collected, the three that were most recently tore down, Tim, do we have any idea yet on the bills on those yet?
I got the bills in the process. They should be about ready to, I got my sheets ready to turn in to somebody.
And so that somebody in the past was Ashley, just so we're all clear. So there needs to be some clear direction as to where they're going right now, because those funds that are collected will now go into this non-reverting fund.
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah.
Rich, well, I want to ask you a question on that topic, kind of on that topic.
Yep.
You are going to be pursuing foreclosure proceedings on anything that you demolish and you don't recover any funds, correct?
That is correct.
On every parcel,
That is correct.
without fail?
Well, what happens in the court thing, I can't control, but that is the goal, is to recapture the money that we spent out there for it.
Okay, I just don't want to repeat that mistake.
Well, I agree.
Should we at this time direct someone to do the billing for Tim? Who's going to do the billing?
They're all in sequence. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, as far as the fact that in the past, Tim brought all the information to Ashley to compile all the stuff and send out the letters to, we'll go back to the one in April, 128th and Hilltop. That one, the owner was well aware.
In Hilltop.
Yeah, it was well aware of it, and so as soon as the bill is done, sent it off, just like the one that was just down here on the south side. They came in, paid in 2 installments, went back into the general fund. But now it would go into the unsafe non-reverting fund. But we don't have the person there, so it's a matter of, do we instruct town manager or who to send out those letters?
Let me ask another question, since we're on topic. You don't mind, do you? And I don't know that you can even answer this question, but hopefully somebody can. The Bird property in particular, are we pursuing a foreclosure on that property?
We are.
We are. Okay. I just don't want to revisit or have a reoccurrence of like that particular property we always talk about on Klein Avenue, where we spent all that money, all that time, and all that effort to clean up a bunch of unsafe buildings, and then the owner wind up with the property years later, after we spend money.
Right, now, if, Dave, if I'm correct, did the bank that owns the old Bird property reach out to find out what our total was into it? I thought I heard that from Ryan, or...
They did. They did.
So, which to me, that's promising, 'cause
Well, that
they-
property's up for sale now.
Well, it should be up for sale before we got our money, in my view. Should it be?
What should have we?
The problem with
Do
that
we have a
property-
lien on it?
Well, you do. You do by virtue of the claims that we filed. But the problem for us is in a foreclosure proceeding, the bank is first, and the bank being first is going to out us. We stayed in
So-
litigation, kind of a head bob, just...
So I have a clear understanding, David, I'm not trying to bully you here.
No, I don't think you are.
So I have a clear understanding, particularly on the Bird property, because I view that as one of those properties that could come back and be a brutal pain later. We've liened the property, we're going to pursue foreclosing on that lien. The bank, at the very least, has to pay our lien, correct, or am I wrong?
They're first. They were there first in their lien.
So
They have a recorded mortgage that secured the payment of monies to the property.
Dave, I understand that, I guess I want to understand, do they have to pay our lien or not?
They won't have to, although we have a strategy at sheriff's sale to consider purchase for purposes of liquidation correctly. We haven't gotten to that point. We're nowhere near that point, actually.
Okay, I just don't want, I don't want to drop the ball on any more of these, and I'm not saying that that's what happened in the past.
We cannot help the position we're in. We're where we're at by
Well, if
way
we've got, if Dave,
liens fell.
and I think this is something we should think about since we're talking about it. Since we've put the effort, the energy, and the money into the demolition, then we need to have a representative at that sheriff's sale to protect our interest, even if it means spending more money that we have to recoup. We will recoup the money, it will be more than the cost, I believe.
I'll get you a good report for the next meeting.
I just don't want to lose any more money on this stuff and people come in and profit from our effort, that's all.
That possibility exists, Greg, and I can't sit here and tell you that it is not possible. It is possible. Depends upon sale price, process, et cetera.
Anything else, Mr. Keel?
This one is for Jen. Do we have any idea yet on the true-up?
I have not been contacted.
July 2nd.
July 2nd. I do not have it in hand.
Has Lowell reached out to you at all?
I have not heard.
Okay.
No, and I think that would come to the clerk treasurer's office anyway, right?
That is how it has happened in the past. Judy Walters would always walk in and hand me copies of it.
Should somebody respond to Lowell with what's going on?
I would think that we should at least give them a phone call, but I know the last time I tried reaching out, I got a 0 response.
I have no problem emailing Gilmer, their clerk treasurer, and asking if she has an update on when I can expect copies of the McMahon report.
It's a good idea.
Thank you.
That is all.
All right. Thank you, sir.
One real quick thing.
You said that was all.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to touch base real quick that Mary Joan and I, as council affairs, did meet with Jen and Corby today to start the discussion for the budget.
Oh, okay.
So just a little side note thing.
Yeah, getting in budget season.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Town attorney, attorney auction? No report. All right. Thank you, sir. Clerk treasurer, Ms. Ambrick?
So, Mr. Taylor, I
Stole
told you,
your thunder,
you
sorry.
stole my thunder, so we began preliminary budget discussions. In the next few weeks, we'll be scheduling to meet with the department heads to go over their wants, needs, asks. seeing how that fits in with our projected revenues for 2025 and any goals or objectives the council lets us know that they have. So we'll meet quite a few times over the next couple of months. We're shooting for a public hearing at the end of September and with final adoption in October, because we had to kind of change some dates around today we were discussing. So more information will be coming as we fine tune those numbers. So I have some preliminary numbers with the close of June 30th. I do anticipate that council has plenty of funds that can be repurposed within their budget. So I plan on having a little more detailed report with what I anticipate needing to transfer, so that we can look at purchasing of new chairs as I have been asked for up here. So I'll have something for you all at your next meeting. I will not be physically present at your next meeting because I'll be on vacation with my family, but I will have something for you so that you all can kind of start to mull it over and then give me final direction on, yeah, go ahead and purchase those, or no, find something else.
Okay. Thanks, Jen. All right.
I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Town manager, Mr. Bungie.
I have nothing for tonight.
All right, thank you, sir. Police Department, Chief Fisher. Oh. Who is it? Oh.
Director of
Yeah, I guess we'll go to you, Tim, sorry. Mr.
I
Kubiak.
guess I would just like to finish the discussion on the unsafe building.
Oh, no, then
For
let's
these
go.
for those demos, I mean, I have the worksheet on machinery, equipment, capping off, I'm getting the bills now for capping the wells off and, the sewer taps and caps and all that, so I think that new ordinance cleaned up the ministerial fees or something that were supposed to go on these demos.
Yeah.
So, we need somebody's gotta take the ball with, finishing up the rest of that bill and getting that done. I'll have my part done. Like I said, I'm expecting I can probably call Sheehy and get my bill for the capping of the wells off. They're done now, so, I'll be able to finish my portion of it and give it to somebody to.
So you need to know who that somebody is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And that's
Unless you want me
something-
just to stand out in the parking lot and hold it.
No, that's okay. I don't know if we'll have an answer for that right now. It's something that we're gonna have to mull over here, right?
Yeah, but I would think that somebody's gotta be capable, to handle it.
All right. Do you want me?
Volunteers?
If you want, do you want my office to take the lead on that? Through Kirsten and I, we can come up with a game plan.
Yeah, because I think the longer we sit on this,
What's that?
So we hooked one.
yeah.
Lay it out there. Jeff's got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
When do we need to have a board meeting?
Well, I'll get my portion ready for you first of next week, and then we need to have it done for the next unsafe meeting was my goal, just so you guys can
Yeah.
have that numbers and have a game plan. So that's in 2 weeks, right?
Third Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
2 weeks from tomorrow.
it's an easy, it's just one
And there'll be 2 building department meetings between now and then.
Right.
So as far as, I know you said the next one's tomorrow, I know I won't be able to be at that one, but the next one I should be able to be at, just if there's any kind of,
Yeah, so those
discussion.
administration costs, and I'm not sure whatever happened to them, after the portion that I gave them in and that's it. So.
Right.
Okay.
You got anything else, Tim?
No, that's it. We got some storm things that we're working on, keep coming up on every project, so we've been kind of steadily trying to take care of those, even in the shades and everywhere we go, it seems like there's another thing popping up, so, but that's been keeping us on our toes, so, other than that, that's about it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Chief Fisher, second time.
Just a couple of things. Saturday, July 20th, I put some flyers up there. The police department will be hosting a free basic fire and safety class for the public. Firearm safety.
I thought you said fire safety,
No, I don't like fires. But, they also get a free gun lock with it if they're interested, or as many as they need, sure doesn't be told. We also, submitted a grant request to the Safe Coalition, and we requested $20,000, received $5,000. Can be used for overtime for anything drug and alcohol related. So we're pretty happy about that. And, recently, we started our canine donations, through the canine program, and, we was up to $6,800, so received another donation tonight too, so it's doing really good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, sir. Fire department, do we have anything from Chief Logan's department?
I talked to him this evening. His father became pretty ill this afternoon, so he wasn't able to make it. They think he's going to have to go into the hospital.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I need to hear that.
Pardon?
I think it's pneumonia, but he's not sure.
Taking care of.
Ms. Ray? Hello?
Hi, I have nothing to report at this time at Parks Department.
Okay. Thank you. Written communication, Ms. Mansbury?
I have not received anything.
Jeff?
Nothing springing from it,
All right. We will open the floor up to public comment. State your name and address for the record, please.
Rob N, 13455 Parish Avenue. I wanted to come and talk to you guys, discuss some concerns I have, not only as a resident who grew up here, but as a business owner of a builder development company that is based in a town that has a moratorium on building and development. I feel like being a butcher in a vegetarian community. And as many of you know, we've got the rail side business where we put up. And we believe, or we know, in discussing with others, other business people in town, that there's more some unintended consequences. If you look at the communities adjacent to us, Lowell, they've got open arms. They're approving developments left and right. St. John, they have people on staff that go out and solicit businesses to come to town. Here, we have a moratorium. Yes, we're able to build in Railside, and our neighbor to the west, Lakeside, is able to build. But it's very difficult to, convince businesses to come here. A lot of them say, oh, it's too early, the head count's not quite there. We need more population. We thought Cedar Lake was growing. We really need to see more growth when we come. It would be too early. So it's been very difficult. We've had a lot of blowback. We sold one lot, which is, not where we want to be, but that's due to some other factors as well. It's due, interest rates are up, things of that nature, and, people are a little scared of upcoming election economy. But we do hear a lot of pushback on the moratorium. I watch the meetings, and I don't come to too many, but I watch them on YouTube, like a lot of people do. I hear all kinds of stuff. Oh, come and spur so much money into the town, not only in the fees that we pay, the permit fees. I mean, you take right outside on 28 lots. Those permits are $30,000 a piece. You take the fees we've already paid, you know, the engineering fees, or the, you know, inspection fees, we've already paid probably $250,000, $300,000 into the town, directly to the town. We got 29 lots with, you know, $30,000 permit fees. I mean, you're talking over $1 million right there, and no cost to the town. We put all the infrastructure in, we paid for it all, we're gonna turn it over to you. So you've got $1 million right there. I mean, and that's just that. That doesn't count the future taxes, the TIF money that the town's gonna get. Yes, I understand you need money, you know, to take care of the sewer, the water.
Actually, it's bigger than that, Robbie. There should have been better planning that put, I mean, hell, we built a public safety building with no water. I mean, that's the kind of thing we've been doing around.
You know, and Greg, I'm with you there, and
we're looking for solutions. We're not trying to perpetuate problems, but we're not gonna have a situation in this community where people are selling lots and building houses where you can't run water and flush toilets. Water is the immediate need right now.
And I think
it's embarrassing that we built a public safety building that we can't run water and flush toilets.
Well, that's true. And Greg, I'd like to say this, because most of you people, council members, I know most of you personally very well, are friends of mine, acquaintances of mine. The past council are friends of mine, acquaintances of mine. They had a different vision than you guys have. I understand that completely, okay?
The vision's fine if you plan for it.
Agreed, but I think it's time we quit looking past and we start looking forward.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Well, I know. Well, it's been how many months now since we've had this moratorium? I don't think you guys realize what it's causing out there. You've got people that invested tons of money in things, in properties and things. And I'm not just speaking as a developer, I'm speaking as a resident, because I want these things secured too. And the only way to cure them is to get some more money in here. And the only way to get the money here is the development. It spurs so much money. And like I said, it's not going to happen. You'll approve a few subdivisions. It's going to take years before they're all active and online. So you've got time. What are we in the 7th month of this year already? I mean, we should be having, and maybe you guys have some solutions you're working on.
We're looking at some solutions.
What was the sewer expansion gonna take? From start to finish, if they were ready to start?
Rich, I left in 2019, and it was well known then that we were gonna have water and sewer issues.
Well, what I'm saying though is the meeting that was down the wall with the expansion on their presentation they did, it's minimum 3 years. If we start approving things now, if we were to lift the moratorium, what good is it gonna do if nobody can flush their toilets? Because 3 years from now, there's still gonna be no more capacity than what we currently have.
Well, yes, but here's the thing. If I walked in here today and said, guys, I've got another 50 acres over here I want to develop, and by the time I was able to start and build the first building, would probably be a year and a half.
Rob, you in particular, I want to develop because you're developing things that generate good revenue for this community.
And I appreciate that, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's why we didn't go to the house route. We went to the business route. But the problem is, that track business has to be customers here. All the new businesses we've got, the Culvers, you know, all of the new restaurants and things we've got are because the head count's up. We've got a lot of others, so people have to come first.
And I completely agree with you. And you guys run a quality business, you do quality development. You've done a phenomenal job with that rail site and other things. And those are great revenue generators. We've got to get something addressed with the water.
And I agree. And you know, like I said, you might be doing that behind closed doors. We don't know that.
We absolutely are.
And the problem is the public don't know. And not only the public here, but, you know, today because I want to get, I've talked to several of you guys, and you all know this. A few of you don't, but, I've had problems, nothing but problems over here. So I want to present these pictures, and I want them on record. These first two are from when Schilling Development started Beacon Point, and on the east side of my property, they cut into it about 75 feet. I came home from work. I'm like, what's going on? Put my dirt back. So, there's some pictures for you. The second picture, or the second set of pictures, I want to give you are elevation shots. How they were before. There's about 6 pictures there.
And John, you'll scan them into the minutes?
Because that's what I'm
And then,
do.
the next pictures I want to give you are shots of stagnant water. So we have a mess out there. Now, I'll give you, any of you guys, the key to my mower. Even the engineers, to come out and try to safely mow my lawn. Okay?
You're not wrong, I was at your house, it can't be mowed.
Yes.
It is impossible to mow that with a mower.
These elevations are getting worse. I don't know what's going on with the ground, but next to my trees, there's like 55 degree angle. It's crazy.
And the grade has changed since they did it because you've got high points and low points.
Yes.
And that probably.
And I'm not saying the whole thing is wrong, no, just parts.
I don't know, and I said this to Jack Schlager recently when he was in here for something else. I don't understand why so much material had to be taken out over there for that subdivision. I don't understand why that subdivision is now, or that ground for that subdivision is now lower than it was when it existed before. I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm not an engineer.
Right.
I don't but from just looking at it with a logical, untrained eye, I don't understand why that ended up like that.
Well, listen.
Furthermore, I think the only way to fix your situation is to drop that grade, and I told you this the other day, and build a knee wall or a retaining wall.
We have to do something, yes.
Oh, I don't know, and I certainly believe that would have to be engineered.
Well, I want these pictures on record, please, and
we need to go back and look at those minutes too, and that's going to take a minute.
I would welcome any of you over there. I've shot some different elevations, and I think you guys will agree with me. I think Rich agreed with me, Nick agreed, Greg agreed, Bob agreed. So we have problems. Now, but I don't hear any solution. So that's why I'm here. I'm not here to make a big thing. I just want to bring it to everyone's attention, and I do want to get it on record in case nothing happens. I mean, we have a performance bond sitting there, and I have stagnant water, and I have elevation issues. So I'll leave it at that, all right? I don't want to take up a lot of your time. The other thing I want to talk about, you guys talked about the bird property. Now we have a foundation sitting there where a kid can fall in it. If you're going to tear down properties, tear out the whole foundation,
and seed it like you have to do according to your zoning ordinance.
I don't know
It's filled in, isn't it, Tim? The basement's filled in?
It's all filled in, I just see it from the road, I was like, why didn't,
It's filled in, because it's a perfect poured concrete foundation, so, I mean, it adds a lot to the value of the property, but it's full, it's only a foot, I mean, it's.
I didn't know, I didn't go back
It's not
and look,
unsafe
but
at all.
I
But I thought
thought.
it just made the cost of the town to tear that all out and haul away,
Yeah.
the increased value of the property with a good foundation on it was just kind of a decision to, I mean, it's definitely makes the property more usable and more,
I agree.
More good foundation, but it is filled in and safe, 100%, there's nothing,
Is it filled in with sand?
no, it's just filled in with clay from.
Well, that's good, at least it's filled in, I didn't know that, I just drive by. One more thing for Robbie, I call you Robbie, that's fine, could be Rob. I know how the town works, so I spent a few years here, but let's get to the water issue. When you have stuff already approved, like the lake views and Oltoffs and things like that, and you cannot supply them water, you have issues. So I understand where these guys are coming from. They have a tough route to decide what to do. My opinion, and I don't know, I drank out of a hose over in Robin's Nest, and I thought I was have to go in for look for a casket because of all the chlorine in the water. But I'll tell you what, I don't think the town should be in the water business.
I question that sometimes myself.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to leave it at that, real quick and easy. So thank you. If any of you guys want to come out and take a look, I'll be happy to meet with you. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Maiku.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robbie.
Anyone else for public comment?
Maria and Caroline tomorrow, 13318 Morris. On a happy note, on behalf of Woodman Life Lodge 6057, we have 3 Indiana state flags and 3 American flags to present to the town of Cedar Lake.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're getting the Tim Kubiak over here because he's going to see that Tim King gets them, and he's prepared to put them up.
Actually, if we could use the American flag and the Indiana flag, I'd like to put them at the end of the pier.
I've got them sketched, they're going out here for our flagpole. They're going down to the North Point Lookout, and then the other one was going to the street
Can we
department.
negotiate?
We can talk about it.
Get with Ranger.
I worked with them to get those
Get with
flags.
Ranger
Thank you.
order.
Thank you, ladies.
Or
The last one for
she
the
could
latest
probably
one.
order you some.
You're nice to me.
I've always been nice to you.
Okay.
All right, last call for public comment. Jennifer, did you have anybody chiming in? No?
There's no attendees online.
All right, well, we thank you all for joining us. We hope everybody has a wonderful Independence Day with friends and family, and be safe. Next meeting is July 16th at 7 p.m. This meeting is adjourned at 8:19.